Okay. Well, good afternoon. So, in today's session, we are going to cover 4 topics. Okay. So, first one is religious cults and godmen. This year's mains 2024 paper 1, UPSC have asked question regarding the reasons for mushrooming of sects and cults in India. See, whenever UPSC is asking questions, not all the time, but most of the time, they might be asking that for a reason. Because in the last year, there were several news articles related to the issues of godmen and cults, right? There were several incidents that was taken negatively in the news. So that is the major reason why UPSC might have asked that particular question. So likewise, you can also predict the topics that UPSC may ask in the general type of questions or dynamic type of questions. So be aware of that and try to cover these kind of topics. Okay, we will be doing that from our end as well, but you also need to be aware of that. So when it comes to that of cults and godmen, okay, generally we study this particular portion in the religion chapter, right? Whether when we discuss about what is cult, sect, church, denomination. So when we discuss about various religious institutions, we usually cover this part. But I just want to also discuss the dynamic aspect, like what are the various sociological perspectives associated with that? How can we connect different theoretical perspectives with this particular topic? So first, I'll give you a chance, okay, to come up with your points regarding how to connect sociological theory as well as perspectives into this topic. So what all topics can you guys, come up with in this particular topic?
The theodicy of disprivilege.
Okay, you can come up with or you can mention about Weber's concept of theodicy of disprivilege. So what exactly is Weber's concept of theodicy of disprivilege? Can anyone tell me? Okay, so what exactly it is it? Okay. Okay, so one aspect that you can mention about theodicy of disprivilege is that the marginalized sections will be following the cults and godmen, right? And what is the reason for that? See, basically, there is this viewpoint, especially related to the marginalized section, that the poverty that they face in this earth, okay, will give them salvation in the afterlife, right? So the hope of getting salvation in the afterlife and poverty as a reason or justification for that is one of the reasons why we say that marginalized sections of population, especially the downtrodden sections, mostly rely on these cults and godmen. So you can mention about that particular concept regarding disprivilege and how they consider their earthly poverty as a reason for salvation in the afterlife. Other than that, that is correct point. Like theodicy of disprivilege can be mentioned. Okay, Marxian perspective. How can you bring Marxian or how can you connect the Marxian theory with that of cults and godmen? They also helps in spreading false consciousness. Okay. But how exactly the cults and godmen spread false consciousness and what is the purpose of that? For exploitation. So what are the cults and godmen gaining from that exploitation? Charismatic authority. Yeah, I mean, my question is, you mentioned about the false consciousness as well as exploitation. That is correct. But how exactly are these cult and godmen utilizing it, or how are they exploiting the, underprivileged sections? It is basically the point is it is because of religious mercantilism. So you have to mention about false consciousness, or you can directly mention that they are promoting mercantile products, right? So you can mention about that religious mercantilism or promoting certain commodities of these godmen and cult, which help them create more profits or more revenue or money, right? So instead of mentioning about false consciousness, you can directly hit to that particular point. Because when we connect that with the false consciousness, it becomes much more indirect in nature. So you can mention about Marxian concept where these cults and godmen are also popularizing their products, right? In various forms. Like it can be on the basis of some chains or some kind of rings, right? Even they will be selling their music, right? So there are various items that they sell, and in that way they are also earning money. So that is how you can connect it with that of Marxian perspective. Then power. Okay, so how can we connect it with that of various theories of power or power as such? Yeah, political patronage, right? So you can also mention it based on the concept of power. You can connect it with our syllabus, where you can mention that those cults and godmen are growing because they are getting political patronage. Political parties, especially right-wing political parties, are utilizing these cults and godmen to further their political interest. So that is also one of the reasons why they are growing. Then, structural functionalist viewpoint. So how can you connect structural functionalism and okay, casteless society? Okay, okay. Okay, we can express our worship and devotion in our own terms. Okay. So, structural functional perspective means they say that these cults and godmen are serving some functions for the society. So, what are the functions? Ah, okay. All right. You have to connect it that with that of social unity, social solidarity, right? How will you connect with social unity and social solidarity? Because these cults and godmen, right, they are able to bring people into some or a similar idea, right, a similar ideology or similar practices, and that can somehow reduce alienation. Because in the modern times or in contemporary times, alienation among people are increasing. So to an extent, these cults and godmen are able to overcome that. So you can mention that from a structural functional perspective. Then anything modern, like all these perspectives that we are discussing are like usual ones. Any modern perspectives that you can come up with in this case? Secularization and cults. Yeah, you can mention secularization. Yeah, multiple religious backgrounds. So what exactly can you mention there as a perspective or a concept or a theory? So you can mention about rising individualism, right? So rising individualism and cults and godmen are connected in a way that, see, now people are, there is something known as spiritual shopping cart. I've heard that particular term, spiritual shopping cart. It means people are picking and choosing the kind of religious beliefs that they want. We are not following a single dominant religious philosophy or idea. Instead, we are picking and choosing religious ideologies based on our need, right? That is also signifying individualism in the society. Because in order for me to meet my personal needs, in order to meet the individual needs that I have, I can now select the practices of various cults and religious beliefs, and I can combine it all together so that it will serve my purpose. So in that sense, you can mention about spiritual shopping cart as well as you can mention about rising individualism. All right. So that can also be mentioned. Then any particular concept apart from alienation that you can use, that you can come up with related to any thinker. We have mentioned about alienation. From interactionist perspective, how can you connect okay, from symbolic interactionist perspective, you can also connect rising individualism, individual needs, individual meanings. Yeah, you can connect that with rising individualism. That is possible. I'm asking about any particular topic that we have learned regarding thinkers. Any specific things? Social action. Parsons will be pointing out to the same thing, right? Individualism. Yeah. Other than that,
Sir, can we mention Protestant ethic?
Protestant ethic. See, basically, when it comes to Protestant ethic, it's a different idea. Like when it comes to that of theodicy of disprivilege and all, we usually discuss that when it comes to Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. But Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism is a study where Weber is trying to portray that religious ideas can also act as an independent source of social change. Right. Here, when it comes to cults and Godmen, we cannot stress on that particular aspect where cults and sects are able to, bring changes in society. Right. That aspect is comparatively less. So we cannot mention about PESC. From feminist perspective, negative. Okay. So from feminist perspective, you can mention about the kind of atrocities and exploitation that the women face inside these kind of cults and, under the Godmen. That you can mention, because mostly women are subjugated, women are exploited in these kind of institutions. Because whatever news that have come up in the past was also related to that of women and the kind of sexual exploitation women faces within the cults and under that particular Godmen. Right. So you can mention about the feminist perspective and the exploitation women faces. There were several allegations of sexual exploitation when it comes to that of Dera Sacha Sauda that was there. Right. And numerous times there were allegations, but which was later not considered. So you can mention about that. See, when it comes to that of the sociological terms, you can use Durkheim's concept of anomy here. Right. Why is people going behind cults and Godmen? Because in the modern times, when rapid changes are happening, people are not able to find that kind of or inner satisfaction, right? That is also one reason why they are relying on the cults and Godmen. So you can mention about that concept of anomy. You can connect it with that of the theory, with this particular topic. And you can write that faster changes or rapid changes in the modern society is creating a kind of emptiness within people. And that is also pushing people towards these cults and Godmen. Here. So anomy we have discussed. Alienation we have already covered. Now, when it comes to that of Aldrich, he mentioned about certain differences between that of religion and cult, which is exactly the reason why cults are becoming more popular. See, when it comes to that of institutionalized religions, they are not able to have a face-to-face communication and connection with their devotees or believers. Right? It is very difficult for the established or institutionalized religions to do that. But on the other hand, these cults and Godmen are able to have that connection, that face-to-face personalized connection with their devotees and believers. That is also a reason why people are moving towards these cults and Godmen instead of institutionalized religion. Because they have a face, they can talk to them, right? They can discuss their issues with them. They might also provide them some solutions. There is one more thing that you need to understand when it comes to institutionalized religions. It talks about getting salvation in the afterlife. But when it comes to these cults and Godmen, they provide solutions in this life for the mundane problems that people face, the ordinary problems of ordinary people, right? So that is again a reason why these cults and Godmen are becoming more popular. Even though they may not be giving anything of substance, but still people will feel satisfied because they are able to discuss their problem to someone they find as having some superhuman or superpowers, right? So that is one reason. Clear? Then another perspective that we can consider here is of Rajiv Dubey, where he mentions that when it comes to the cults, they are able to balance between the spiritual needs as well as the materialistic needs of people. See, when you consider the cults and the modern Godmen, they have also tried to assimilate these two aspects. They are material, at the same time they are spiritual. They have all the material facilities, but at the same time they say that we are not attached to these material aspects. We are just enjoying them. We are not attached to it. And they have a higher spiritual, life and all. So that assimilation between the materialistic life of the West, which people are now desiring to have, plus the Eastern aspect of that, spiritual well-being, these two are properly assimilated and balanced by these cults and Godmen. That is also making it more attractive, especially among the urban middle class because urban middle class have these materialistic desires. At the same time, they have not lost the connection with that of the spiritual side. So this connection is more favorable to attract the urban middle class. Clear? Is it clear? Then political patronage we have discussed, and finally globalization. How is globalization connected to that of cults and godmen? There are two angles when it comes to that of globalization and cults and godmen. One is the technological advancement. Now these godmen and cults are able to spread their sphere of influence to across the globe, right? They just need to have a proper camera, mic, and all the setup. They can shoot videos, they can post it online, and they will get followers across the globe, right? So that is leading to their spread and expansion, because now itself, when you consider all the popular godmen and cults in India, they have their followers not just in India. They have the fan following or the followers base across the globe in various continents. So that is one reason or one aspect of globalization and cult. Second is, due to globalization, these cults are also getting commoditized, similar to what we have mentioned when it comes to Marxian perspective. There is commodification of religion happening through the cults, especially because of globalization. They are able to sell their products, they are able to sell their services, right? They are able to make money out of it. And that is also not limited to a particular region, but it is again spread across the globe. Clear? So these are the various reasons that we can mention from a sociological analysis. In the sense, we are not adding any sociological perspective here, because as we have followed in the last session, first we will have a sociological analysis of the topic, and then we will discuss about various perspectives. Okay, so these are the various sociological analysis on this topic. One is anomy. We can discuss about alienation. Then regarding Aldrich's view that sect and religion are two different entities, especially because of the kind of needs that people have in this contemporary society, and how the established or institutionalized religions are actually failing to meet such needs. Then Rajiv Dubey's concept, where they are able to assimilate the materialistic and spiritual aspect properly, and as a result, it is becoming more attractive to the urban middle class. Then political patronage, we have discussed about that, and globalization. So these are the various sociological perspectives that you can add here. Clear? You can also mention about individualism, right? Pricing individualism, spiritual shopping cart, that can also be added here. Then next is various sociological perspectives on this concept. When it comes to various sociological perspectives, first is you can mention about the subaltern perspective, as well as you can mention about Weber's theodicy of disprivilege. Both are pointing out to the same aspect, because when it comes to that of the subaltern perspective, you can say that why this underprivileged or the downtrodden sections are more inclined towards these cults and godmen, because they get somewhat equal treatment there. Because mostly the caste related segregation and all is not present when it comes to that of cults. As a result, they wish to participate and become members of these cults. All right. So the traditional inequalities that they face in the society is mostly absent within the cults. There is no hierarchical order or hierarchical arrangement within the cult. Okay, so that is one reason. So that is the subaltern perspective. When it comes to theodicy of disprivilege, as we have already discussed, people expect that their earthly, poverty is a justification or is an indication of salvation after life. And as a result, mostly underprivileged sections go behind these religious institutions. See, this theodicy of disprivilege is also applicable in case of established religions as well. Because when it comes to Christianity, first it started as a religion of the downtrodden sections. Right? It actually started as a social movement from the side of the downtrodden sections, and later it became an institutionalized religion. So likewise, you can mention these two concepts. Then Marxian concept we have already discussed. It can be argued that many cults and groups are run like capitalistic business houses. They are earning money from that. And through that, they are also able to exploit people, because they will be ready to spend whatever amount that they have on these cults and godmen, because they expect this will provide them salvation. This will end their problems in this earth as well. And finally, from a Mertonian perspective, you can mention that it is a result of lopsided modernization, because what modernization did is it has increased inequality in the society, right? It has beat people's expectations, because mostly people believed that modernization will bring in equality in the society, or they expected that modernization's fruits or benefits will accrue to all different sections of population. But in reality, the benefits of modernization were going only to the rich sections of population who were already, at the top. So that has created a kind of disenchantment and disillusionment among the people, and that has led them to move towards that of cults. Is it clear? Also, when it comes to that of the lopsided aspect of modernization, you must also consider the case of increasing rationalization of Weber, iron cage of rationality, inner emptiness. All these can also be noted as or quoted as examples for the reason why people are moving towards cults and godmen. Okay. So whenever you get a topic, try to bring in all different theories and perspectives that you have learned. See, I suggest you to actually start with, creating a particular chart where you are able to navigate through all the different perspectives, different concepts. And whenever you are trying to analyze a topic from sociological perspective, take that particular chart, okay, and try to connect various sociological theories, concepts, and perspectives into that topic. Because once you start doing that exercise, automatically after a point of time, without the help of chart, you will be able to do that interconnection. And that will also help you to write better answers even in those areas where you need not have to bring these kind of dimensions. Say, for example, theoretical questions also, you need to have some kind of interconnections, right? So there again, it will help you. It will act as a framework for you to think these sociological perspectives, theories, various, concepts. And whenever you come across a new sociological concept, you can add that into the chart. All right. So you will get to bring in more diverse concepts. Because one thing that I have seen is when we discuss this, everyone will be repeating the same concepts in all the answers. Alienation, anomy, right? There is limited number of concepts. Like there are around 7 to 8 concepts that people usually bring in all their answers. So in order to bring some variety, try to bring new variety of concepts that you come across in internet, when you come across in our articles and all, you can take that as well. Okay. So whenever we are preparing new material, we are trying to bring in these kind of new concepts so that you will get exposed to such new ideas. All right. Is it clear? Okay.